In just a few months, the single most anticipated entertainment product ever made finally arrives. Not a movie. Not an album. A video game. Grand Theft Auto 6 has turned into a cultural event so massive that entire industries are rearranging their release calendars just to stay out of its way. And here is where we stand right now, in the summer of 2026. The date is locked. Rockstar has confirmed it in writing. November 19, 2026, on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. After years of rumors, leaks, and 2 separate delays, there is finally a real, official finish line on the calendar. But there is one last piece of the hype machine that has not dropped yet, and the whole internet is holding its breath for it. Trailer 3. As of right now it still is not out, and every single day fans refresh Rockstar's channel expecting the video that kicks off the final countdown to launch. So in this video I am going to walk you through absolutely everything we actually know. The confirmed release date and the delay history. Pre-orders and pricing. The map. The 2 main characters. The full cast. The gameplay. And of course, when Trailer 3 is most likely to finally arrive. To understand the scale here, remember what already happened. The very first trailer, released back in December of 2023, shattered YouTube records and pulled in hundreds of millions of views faster than almost anything in the platform's history. This was before anyone had played a single second of the game. That is the level of demand Rockstar is sitting on. A guaranteed billion-dollar launch, a fan base that has waited more than a decade, and a marketing campaign that treats every screenshot like breaking news. Let's start with the thing everyone argued about for years. The release date. Let's talk about that release date, because getting here was a saga of its own. For years, GTA 6 was the industry's worst-kept secret. A massive 2022 leak spilled early development footage across the internet, confirming Vice City and a female protagonist long before Rockstar was ready to say a word. Then, in December of 2023, the official announcement finally landed. Trailer 1 confirmed a 2025 launch window and set the entire gaming world on fire. For a while, it looked like we would be playing it before the end of that year. But making the most ambitious game ever attempted does not happen on a neat schedule. Rockstar delayed it, first pushing the window deeper, and then landing on a hard date. That is the reality of a project of this size. Polish takes time, and Rockstar has never been a studio that rushes a launch. So the final answer is November 19, 2026. Console first. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S at launch. As of right now, there is still no officially announced PC version, which follows the exact same pattern as previous Rockstar releases, where PC arrives later. For a lot of players, that console-first strategy stings, especially in the PC community. But history tells us to be patient. Grand Theft Auto 5 came to PC well over a year after its console debut, and it went on to become one of the best-selling versions of the game. The key takeaway is simple. The waiting game on the date itself is finally over. We are no longer guessing about the year or the season. We are counting down the exact number of days. And that changes the entire conversation around what comes next. Now, the part that made every wallet nervous. Pre-orders and pricing. Rockstar opened pre-orders on June 25, 2026, and that instantly became one of the biggest talking points of the entire year across gaming media. The standard edition comes in at $79.99. The Ultimate Edition sits at $99.99. Yes, this is the game that helped push the industry past the old $60 standard, and for a title this size, very few people seem genuinely surprised. The bigger story is what that price tag represents. Analysts expect GTA 6 to be the fastest-selling game in history, and quite possibly the fastest-selling entertainment release of any kind. We are talking about numbers that could dwarf even the biggest movie openings ever recorded. Think about the track record. Grand Theft Auto 5 made $1 billion in 3 days. It has sold over 200 million copies across 3 console generations. It has stayed in the sales charts for more than a decade. GTA 6 is not just following that. It is expected to blow straight past it. And that is exactly why the pre-order launch mattered so much. It was the moment the hype turned into hard commitment. Real money on the table, months before anyone even sees the final box art on a store shelf. That kind of confidence is almost unheard of. But a release date and a price are just logistics. What everyone actually cares about is the world you get to step into. So let's leave the calendar behind and go where this game really lives. The sun-soaked, neon-drenched state of Leonida. GTA 6 takes place in the fictional state of Leonida, Rockstar's love letter to modern-day Florida. At its beating heart is Vice City, the neon paradise that fans have begged to return to ever since the original back in 2002. This time, it is rebuilt from the ground up. And Vice City in 2026 is not the pixelated 80s throwback you remember. This is a living, breathing modern metropolis. Ocean Drive lined with palm trees and pastel hotels. Beaches packed with people. Traffic, nightlife, influencers filming on the sidewalk, and a level of detail that genuinely looks like a real coastline. But here is what makes this map special. Vice City is only one piece of it. The state of Leonida stretches far beyond the city limits, into swamps, small towns, beaches, and wilderness. Rockstar is not just giving us a city. They are giving us an entire region to get lost in. Everything we have seen points to this being the largest and most detailed open world Rockstar has ever built. Not just bigger in raw square mileage, but denser. More interiors you can actually walk into. More reactive crowds. More systems running underneath every street corner. The official screenshots released on Rockstar's website drove this home. Each one looks less like game art and more like a photograph. The lighting, the reflections, the sweat on a character's skin. It is the kind of visual leap we usually only get once per console generation. To really understand the scope, you have to break Leonida down region by region, because each corner of this map has its own distinct personality. So let's take a quick tour through the areas Rockstar has shown us so far. Start with the Leonida Keys, a chain of tropical islands stretching out into turquoise water. This is postcard territory. Fishing boats, jet skis, beachfront bars, and long bridges connecting tiny sunbaked communities. It is the kind of place that feels built for chaos in a speedboat. Then there is Grass Rivers, Rockstar's take on the Everglades. Endless wetlands, airboats cutting through the reeds, alligators in the water, and a wild, untamed atmosphere completely different from the glamour of the city. This is where the map gets dangerous and quiet at the same time. Head north and you reach Mount Calaga National Park. Dense forest, hiking trails, waterfalls, and rugged wilderness. It is a reminder that Leonida is not just beaches and neon. There are entire ecosystems here, far from the traffic, where the game can slow down and breathe. Ambrosia and Port Gellhorn fill in the rest of the picture. Port Gellhorn feels like a faded, blue-collar Gulf Coast town, all industrial docks and roadside motels. Ambrosia leans into a different flavor entirely, giving the map even more variety in tone, architecture, and the kind of people who live there. Put it all together and you get a state that feels genuinely diverse. Glamorous city, tropical islands, dangerous swamp, mountain wilderness, and forgotten small towns. That variety is what keeps an open world alive for years instead of weeks. There is always somewhere new to drive to. And a world this big needs the right people to guide you through it. For the first time in the modern era of the series, Rockstar is not handing you a lone criminal. They are handing you a couple. So let's meet Jason and Lucia. Meet Lucia Caminos. She is the first female protagonist in the modern history of Grand Theft Auto, and that alone makes her a landmark for the entire series. When we first see her, she is in prison, and her opening line makes it clear she has learned to survive by playing the odds and getting lucky. Her partner is Jason Duval. He has a military background, a calmer presence, and a history tangled up in the drug trade of the Keys. Where Lucia is sharp and impulsive, Jason feels steady. Together they form a partnership built on need as much as trust. Rockstar has openly leaned into the Bonnie and Clyde comparison, and it fits perfectly. This is a story about two people against the world, riding a rising tide of crime, trying to hold on to each other while everything around them threatens to fall apart. It is a love story wrapped in a heist. This is a genuinely new structure for the series. GTA 5 gave us 3 separate criminals you switched between. GTA 6 is built around a duo whose relationship is the spine of the entire narrative. The emotional stakes are baked directly into the gameplay. The trailers sell this beautifully. Jason and Lucia on the run, in motels, in cars, in quiet moments and loud ones. You can feel that Rockstar wants you invested in them as people, not just as tools for pulling off the next job. That is a big shift in tone. And a great couple needs a great supporting cast to push against. Leonida is packed with hustlers, dealers, influencers, and criminals, each one designed to feel like a real person with their own angle. So let's meet the people orbiting Jason and Lucia. First up is Booby Ike, a Vice City businessman who came up through the streets and now runs a recording studio and a string of local ventures. He represents the version of success everyone in Leonida is chasing, and characters like him tend to sit at the center of the money in a Grand Theft Auto world. Then there is Cal Hampton, an anxious, paranoid associate of Jason's who spends a lot of his time monitoring police radio and worrying about everything. He is the kind of nervous, comic relief character Rockstar writes so well, the friend who is always one bad decision away from disaster. Real Demez is a social media-obsessed duo, 2 women turning clout and hustle into a lifestyle, filming everything and chasing the algorithm. They are Rockstar's sharp jab at influencer culture, and they show just how firmly this game is planted in the present day. Draquan Priest ties into the local music scene, while Raul Bautista is a far more dangerous figure, a career criminal who pulls Jason and Lucia into bigger, riskier scores. He represents the pull toward the serious end of the underworld, the jobs with real consequences. There is also Brian Heater, a swamp-dwelling figure tied to the rougher, backwoods side of Leonida. Every one of these characters is designed to feel authentic to modern Florida, from the influencers to the dealers to the fading old-timers clinging to a changing state. This is Rockstar's signature satire firing on all cylinders. A cast that mocks and celebrates modern America at the same time. But great characters mean nothing without great gameplay to put them in motion. So let's talk about how GTA 6 actually plays. Let's talk gameplay, because this is where the generational leap really shows. Start with the world simulation. The trailers show crowds that react individually, pedestrians filming on phones, animals in the swamps, and streets that feel genuinely alive instead of populated by cardboard cutouts on a loop. Driving looks dramatically improved. A huge variety of vehicles has already appeared, from muscle cars and lowriders to airboats, motorcycles, boats, and helicopters. The handling in the footage looks weightier and more grounded, a clear step up from the slightly arcade feel of past games. Then there is the detail work that Rockstar obsesses over. Wet clothing that clings and dries. Mud that sticks to a truck. Reflections in shop windows. Interiors you can walk straight into without a loading screen. These are the small touches that make an open world feel like a real place. Combat and police systems look reworked as well. The wanted system, the way enemies respond, the physics of a chase. Everything points to Rockstar taking the janky edges of older games and smoothing them into something that finally feels modern and reactive. And underneath all of it sits the promise of an online mode. Grand Theft Auto Online kept GTA 5 alive and profitable for over a decade. Whatever Rockstar builds on top of this new world could realistically run for the next 10 years, evolving long after the story campaign is finished. So we have the date, the map, the cast, and the gameplay. Which brings us to the one thing the entire community is still waiting on, the piece that will kick the hype into its final gear. Trailer 3. Let's talk about when it is actually coming. So, Trailer 3. As of right now, it still has not dropped, and the anticipation is almost unbearable. Let me be clear about something first. Rockstar has not officially announced a date or any details for it. Everything about the timing is community theory, not confirmed fact. That said, the theories are well reasoned. The most popular one points to Take-Two's earnings call in early August. Rockstar has a history of pairing major reveals with big corporate moments and global events, and an earnings call weeks after pre-orders went live is a natural stage for a new trailer. Others point to the simple logic of the marketing calendar. With launch locked for November, a summer trailer would perfectly bridge the gap, keeping the hype boiling through the back half of the year before a final push right before release. It just fits the pattern. As for what it will show, expect it to lean hard into story and gameplay. The first two trailers focused on tone, world, and character. A third trailer this close to launch usually shifts toward showing more of how the game actually plays, and giving fans concrete reasons to pre-order. My honest advice? Do not fall for the fake countdowns and leaked dates that flood social media every single week. If a date is real, it will come straight from Rockstar's official channels and nowhere else. Everything else is noise designed to farm your clicks. But whenever it lands, Trailer 3 will be the starting gun for the final sprint to November. And that raises the biggest question of all. After all this waiting, all this hype, can GTA 6 actually live up to it? Let's close on that. So can it actually live up to more than a decade of impossible expectations? Here is the case for yes. No studio on Earth has Rockstar's track record for open worlds. Red Dead Redemption 2 raised the bar so high that other developers openly admitted they could not compete. This is the same team, with far more money and time. But the pressure is genuinely staggering. When a game costs this much to make and carries this much hype, anything short of a masterpiece gets called a disappointment. GTA 6 is not just competing with other games. It is competing with a decade of fan imagination, and imagination is undefeated. My take is this. The map looks like the most ambitious open world ever built. The characters look like Rockstar's most human protagonists yet. And the studio has earned the benefit of the doubt more than almost anyone in the industry. The pieces for something special are clearly there. The realistic expectation is not perfection. It is a genuine generational leap, a world that sets the new standard for what an open-world game can be, the same way GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 did in their time. That alone would be more than enough to justify the wait. So here is where we are. The date is locked for November 19th. Pre-orders are live. The map, the cast, and the gameplay are all shaping up to be historic. And the only thing standing between us and the final countdown is one more trailer that could drop at any moment. That is everything we know right now. If this breakdown helped, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the second Trailer 3 drops, I will be covering every frame of it. Until then, tell me in the comments. What are you most excited to do first when you finally land in Vice City?